I had someone that wanted me to do a video on civil liberties in St. Kitts and Nevis, which I thought was a pretty good take because a lot of people are real concerned about going to a foreign country and not knowing exactly what the laws are there. Now, let me be upfront with you. I'm not a lawyer, so I'm going to give you basic information on things that I know about, and then you can get with a lawyer if you want to, if you got more information that you want to extract and learn about St. Kitts and Nevis. Let me just tell you a few things to start off with is about freedom of speech. A lot of the laws in the U.S. and St. Kitts are similar, but there are some differences, and some of them are pluses and some of them are minuses. But as a whole, the system in St. Kitts and Nevis is by far a lot freer than the U.S. is. And it's a lot more freer than places like Dubai, Russia, places that have dictatorships, which I've told people in many videos to try to stay away from those countries. Also, folks, if you want to legally get your income taxes to zero, how to get a second passport as quick as 45 days, do 3 things. Hit the subscribe button on the right of your screen right here, and you get new videos automatically as they come out. And I would like to hear from you. If you got a question or comment, just put it below. And if you got any questions, just go to our website, www.citizenshipquickly.com, and just ask for some help. Okay, now if you do get in a situation where you're wanting to talk about somebody else, and you do it publicly, and it's not correct, okay, and that's called defamation of character, and someone can sue you in St. Kitts or Nevis. If you do this, so you need to be careful about, and they will actually push it harder in St. Kitts and Nevis than they do in the U.S. Now, that being said, they do have freedom of speech, but you just got to make sure if you're saying something about something and you're doing it publicly on Facebook or whatever. My mother used to say, if you don't have anything good to say about somebody, don't say anything at all. But if you do, these are the ramifications. You might end up in court on it. And there have been quite a few people, politicians, that have sued each other in St. Kitts because of this. Now, lawsuits. Let's look at lawsuits. Now, lawsuits are different in the U.S. You don't have contingency lawsuits in St. Kitts and Nevis like you do in the U.S. Contingency lawsuits is where you're suing someone and the lawyer's paid contingent on the winning of the lawsuit itself. Now, what you're going to find out in St. Kitts and Nevis, if you sue someone and you lose the court case, you're going to have to pay your court cost and theirs too. So you don't have frivolous lawsuits in the U.S. So you can sue somebody over, just anything at all. And, it costs you nothing because the lawyer usually has an agreement where he gets 25% if it's settled out of court, 33% if it goes to court. And if he loses the court case, then basically you owe him nothing. Now, most lawyers that are good won't take a case on in the U.S. unless they know they can win. St. Kitts and Nevis is different. They'll take a case on no matter what happens because, you have to pay them up front. They're not being paid based on winning the court case. And this can be a problem if you don't have that much money and the guy that's you're suing does have a lot of money, then he can hire a good lawyer and you can have a sorry one. That's one disadvantage of contingency lawsuits. Also, if you want, they do have good rights as far as to bear arms. Now, you can apply for a weapon license. It does take a while to get it. They'll tell you it takes a few months. I'm going to tell you it'll take you 6 months to a year to get it. So if you're thinking about doing it when you get to St. Kitts and Nevis, go ahead and apply, or maybe you want to apply actually before you come because it will take you a while to do it, and you're going to have to call them after you apply for it. Now, the fees for a weapon is around 300 EC, which is a little over 100 US. You cannot get a weapon that's stronger than what the police force carry, and I can tell you a 9mm is the best you're going to get, okay, for a pistol. You can have other types of things, but anything like automatic rifles and stuff like this, you can't have that. But you do have to have a license. If you bring a gun in and you don't get a license for it, you're up a creek, man. You're going to go to prison. Okay, they got strict laws on people that bring in guns that are not licensed, and there have been people that've tried to do it by ship coming in, and man, those guys you got some time there. So if you think that you're going to slap your hand for it, doesn't happen. I knew a guy in Panama that brought one in, and he didn't say anything to the authorities when he brought it in, and then he ended up moving to Singapore. And I never asked him about what happened to that gun, but if he brought it to Singapore, man, you can have life in prison on gun violations in Singapore. I don't know whatever he did with that pistol, but anyway, I hope he canned it in some lake before he left Panama. But these are some things that you need to be aware of. But now, like I said, the fee is 300 EC per weapon, so that's a little over 100 US per weapon. So if you have several guns, it can add up quite a bit there. You can bring in a BB gun, okay, and there is no licensing fee, and there is no annual fee or anything like this to carry it in, and it has to be a certain type of BB gun, like the Daisy Red Ryder. You can bring that in, and also the Child's Red Ryder, you can bring that in too. All right, now they have a two-party system here. It's pretty much a two-party system. They've got Team Unity, and they've got the Labor Party. Now, they're both very conservative. They're a lot more conservative than any of the parties in the U.S. Neither party wants an income tax, which to me that's very much freer than 99% of the countries out there today, because most countries are going to have an income tax. St. Kitts doesn't have an income tax, a capital gains tax, a state tax, inheritance tax, and a property tax is 0.20% of wherever you're purchasing, with a $29,600 US exclusion before that 0.20% kicks in. So, I mean, the laws are really good as far as taxes go, and to me, taxes equate to freedom. If you don't have, if you want top-notch freedom, then you need to wear these tax laws. That's the first thing I would tell a country. If you want to be the ultimate freedom for people, is do away with your income tax system. Now, the election system works where the people get elected into power. You can only stay in office so many times. And the thing about it is, you don't have to worry about a dictatorship here like you do in Dubai and other places. That's one thing I do like. But I'm going to tell you something, folks. Taxes is one thing that's, you want to have freedom by not having income tax. But I tell you, if you've got a dictatorship in your country, it's not free. I don't care if they got no income tax or whatever. You need to have a freely elected government, because there won't be a rule of law unless you have that. So these are some things that you really need to be looking for, when you do this. Now, as far as religion go, there is freedom of religion. 98% of the people in St. Kitts and Nevis are Christians. They do possibly have a mosque here. I've never seen one. Maybe they do, but I mean, you do have the right to choose whatever religion you want. And so that similar to the United States. There's probably around 48 churches in the white pages and the yellow pages of the phone book. There's probably a few more, but those are the ones that are actually listed. There is if you ever get in a situation where you try to tape someone, okay? Now in the U.S., most states in the U.S., you can actually tape record a phone conversation, and as long as one of the people wants to tape it, then it's okay. In St. Kitts, you can't do that unless both parties agreed on a tape conversation. It's a criminal offense to go in and tape a conversation. Also, to go out and do a videotape on someone, and do that, that's against the law too. You can't do that. Also the capital punishment. They do have capital punishment in St. Kitts. They actually still have hanging. Now, I've been here 15 years. They've only had one hanging that's occurred, and the person I think he killed a police officer, I believe. But I don't know if anybody who's died from capital punishment since that occurred, and that's like 1 in 15 years. Although someone does something that's the results could be capital punishment. I've never seen that happen except one time since I've been in St. Kitts. Typically, the laws are a little bit different on as far as lawsuits and the results of lawsuits on judgments. Let me give you an example of how that works. If you sue someone and you win the lawsuit, okay, and the person doesn't pay you, okay, the way it works in the United States is you just basically search for the money, okay? You try to look for insurance companies, errors and omissions that will pick it up. But if you can't find the money, the guy pretty much, he's got a judgment against him, but he goes off scot-free, you know? St. Kitts is different. If you can't find, if the guy doesn't pay the money, you got a judgment against someone else, and the other guy doesn't pay the money that you got the judgment against, they just take his butt and throw him in jail. And there is no really, I talked to a lawyer on this, there really is no termination period for that. Now, I guess they figure most people that owe money, when you go to a St. Kitts prison, man, you want to be out of there, not the next day, but the next minute, okay? They hoard people, a bunch of people in one room. It's very difficult probably to sleep. I've never been in one, but I've heard about it. And so, you know, if you owe somebody money, you want to pay it. If you don't, if you leave the country, you can't escape it that way, the debt. But if you come back in the country, they don't catch you coming across the border and then arrest you. What they do is the person who sued you and got the judgment, they have to know that you're in the country. But what's going to happen is they can immediately go and arrest you and throw you right in prison, okay, until the money's paid. And that's the way that they got what's called a debtor's prison here, okay? So what happens is most people that have debts, they pay them. In fact, if they don't have the money, they beg, borrow, and steal. They'll find somebody out there that will pay their debt some way to get them out of prison. But that's the way the system works. Now typically what happens is, I'll tell you the system and how it works is, if you get a judgment against someone, they will basically, serve the person, and he knows now he's got that a judgment against him, and there's a date he has to appear before court. And if he doesn't appear from that, they'll go out and arrest him immediately. And if he's left the island, they don't get him. Like I said, when he comes back in, they don't have a system like the U.S. does where they'll get you coming back in. The person literally that has the judgment against this other person, he has to know he's in the country. This other person he's got a judgment on, and then he'll call the police. Now, this is another system too, is or another way you can do it, is if you sue someone, he doesn't pay you, and then the guy that owes you money leaves the country, you can seize any assets that he has in bank accounts or in properties and stuff like that, and you can sell it at an auction, and that's how that works. Typically, they go after the person and put him in jail first. Usually that solves the problem, because once they go to a St. Kitts or a Nevis prison, man, they're out. They're going to find some way to pay that debt off. That's the quickest way to do it. If the guy leaves the country, then they'll search for assets. If the guy has no assets in the country, he takes off and leaves, never comes back to St. Kitts, and you got the judgment on him, you're just out of the money. That's how that works. So, it is a little bit different system as far as, the way it works in the U.S., because the U.S. doesn't have a debtor's prison. So, this was done away many, many years ago. So anyway, folks, if you want to learn more on this, go to our website, www.citizenshipquickly.com. Hit the top bar that says Apply with Us. Fill out the questions. Hit that bottom bar that says Send it to us. We did with over 100 citizenship by investment, residency by investment countries all over the world. And I would like to hear from you. If you got a question or comment, put it below. And don't forget, hit that subscribe button right of your screen right here. You get new videos automatically. We got over 600 videos that you can pick up, different techniques, different things that will save you money. Folks, you need to hit that subscribe button. This is where you pick up things, and I'll look forward to talking to you on the next video. Take care.